Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
What are you smiling about, Mike? What's so funny? That Stugotz just locked the door after I asked him to lock the door because Cody's late? Here's the funniest part about that. They were in the parking lot together, Stugotz and Cote. Stugotz is here on time. Cody's late because he couldn't break his routine of going to get his coffee. So
I was walking down, man. I'm telling you, and he was pulling in. I mean, I actually saw Greg outside of his car.
So let's lock him out of the studio. And when he arrives, he's going to immediately try to get in here because, everything stops for him. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be locked out maybe for the entire show. Maybe we have him just sort of wander around those microphones. It's not because he's late. Any of us can be late. It's because of the reason that he's late, right. Which is he was here on time, and he just couldn't be burdened to change his old man routine. And so he went to go get coffee. And right now he's in line somewhere getting coffee instead of doing the job he's being paid for.
Yep, but he needs to swig that coffee after he delivers his one good line each show. I mean, he does have to do that. So he's got a 4-hour major. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that is what I'm arguing. I'm arguing it's a 4-hour major for Cody. What does the audience think? Put this on the poll, please. At Batard Show. Should Cody, because he is late for going to get coffee, have to just sort of wander around the show today instead of get his rightful seat that he has not earned?
I think I'll go home, man. I do.
Oh, I think so, too, and that's okay. I got no problem with that if he leaves in a huff.
He would only leave in a huff, Greg Cote, right?
That's the only way. That's the only way he would leave. It would be huffing. But he'd have his coffee.
Oh, yeah.
So basketball is very predictable.
Mm-hmm. It's a matter of how we get there, Dan.
Seriously. I mean, before the playoffs started, Brockmeyer said it's like seeing a woman that's pregnant and then feeling like she's going to give birth to a phone book. No, the baby's going to be Cavs Warriors. We don't know how we're going to get there, but I shouldn't say we. Stugotz knew.
Oh, yeah.
Stugotz knew.
I know the baby's name.
Stugotz knew this would be the greatest achievement of LeBron's basketball life if he pulls off. I can't believe I'm saying this because of how great he is. They've got no shot. Like, this would be one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport. LeBron James winning in basketball's finals this year would be maybe the biggest surprise in the history of the sport. Right up there with Chauncey Billups' Pistons team beating the Shaq Kobe Lakers.
Right. I think you're right. I think this LeBron team beating this Warriors team with Kevin Durant, with LeBron and basically no supporting cast, yes, would be the greatest upset in the history of that sport.
Well, let's do it this way. Instead of just gasbagging about it, Mike, the betting odds have to be crazy on this. They have to be insane. The Warriors have to be an overwhelming favorite to win in 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think the Warriors are minus 60 last I checked.
No, it's got to be more than that.
The price on the Cavs is ridiculous.
It's got to be more than that.
I'm checking it right now.
Because that Warriors team didn't play well enough to win last night. They won. They did not deserve to win. The Golden State Warriors should have been eliminated last night.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the Cavs were plus 650. The Warriors are minus 1,000 for the series. So Warriors minus 1,000, Cavs plus 650.
Wait a minute. So you've got to bet $1,000 on the Warriors to win 100?
That's right.
That is correct.
There can't be a bigger upset in the history of sport than that one. There's no way that you get 10-1 odds on a champion in that sport.
And that's saying that LeBron already in his arsenal probably has one of the 5 largest NBA finals upsets on his resume. He overcame 3-1 down to the greatest team ever.
But he's also got he's on the wrong end of one of the greatest upsets, which is Dirk Nowitzki beating him. I don't know these ridiculous conversations everybody has about LeBron and Michael. If he pulls this off, like by the end, all of the numbers are going to be better for LeBron. We're going to look back in 30 years and be like, what the hell were people doing in real time that they would dare say that Michael Jordan cast this giant shadow over LeBron when LeBron did everything better, except for the winning of championships. But Michael was always a favorite in the championships. In the most predictable sport, Michael was always a favorite. He wasn't pulling off any upsets.
No.
LeBron's a 12-point underdog game one. We've never seen that before.
Let's just call him LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
The whole thing is crazy. Hey, look who's here. Greg Cote sauntered in, just
coffee in hand.
Yeah, of course he got his coffee. Plenty of time for coffee, but not plenty of time. No, you're locked out of the room. We're going to see if we let you in at some point. Okay. You can chime in from back there if you like. If any of the microphones are on, we're deciding whether to give you a 4-hour major.
Show misconduct.
There's a phrase for that. Easy money.
We predicted that you would leave in a huff if we don't let you in here soon.
Yeah.
That you would, if we don't let you in here soon, we have predicted that you will storm off and just leave. If we in fact keep you out of here for another segment, that you'll just leave.
You never know.
I like you just wandering around the show here aimlessly, doddering.
So far, I mean, he's better.
He's making fewer mistakes.
Correct. Oh, man.
Do you agree with what I'm saying, that Golden State didn't deserve to win that game last night? Like, if Trevor Ariza...
I know what you're saying. You're saying the Rockets lost the game and the Warriors didn't win.
What I'm saying is that the Warriors...
In your personal record book, are the Warriors in the NBA Finals?
The Warriors were very lucky that an unprecedented string of open threes were not made. An unprecedented string. Like, those were shots. Those were shots that, on average, Houston makes some of them.
You're right, but Golden State's game is also, hey, we're going to take a bunch of threes, and last night in that third quarter, and that's what they do, man. You've said it for a long time. It's amazing to see that team. A 12-point lead against that team means nothing. They can erase it in 5 seconds.
No, in Game 6, they were down 17. In Game 7, they were down 15. That stuff doesn't matter against them. And they've got better shooters than Houston. They've got better players than Houston. But what I'm saying is, when you start reducing the margin for error, the scariest thing about that Rockets team is they can make 13 of the 27 that they missed in a row. They can make 13 of those, and if they do, you're done. That's the fire that Golden State was playing with last night. It wasn't because they were guarding well. Trevor Ariza was open again and again and couldn't do anything.
Trevor Ariza, 0 for 12 from the field, 0 for 9 from 3. In fact, the box score is pretty hilarious. Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, Gerald Green, and Joe Johnson combined. These are guys that you would count on to step up while Chris Paul is out. Combined, they had 3 points.
Well, how about this, Mike? How about this? Is Trevor Ariza the only guy on the Rockets with champion pedigree?
That's the championship experience.
Yep. I'm not going to put it on those guys, though. It's on James Harden, man. You got to play better in that spot. You're the MVP. In the second half, he was brutal.
That's all well and fine. I'm guessing he was also tired because his every damn shot was short.
Yep.
Everything he was shooting was short.
LeBron's tired, too. He pulled it out.
I mean, yes, okay.
He's not playing Golden State, but he figured it out.
On that comparison, every human being playing today paled. You could keep flipping that card over, and every guy we compare him to will lose. Yes, LeBron is never tired.
It's a great card.
No, it is. It is. You could flip that card over every time, and you've got the winning argument. Even in my case, if I flip over the Michael Jordan card, I still think you beat me.
Not so sure.
I'm familiar with James Harden's work, and I know it looks different when the shots go in, but last night, it just looked like he was getting shots up just to get them up. I don't know, part of his strategy is he tries to get the foul when he puts a shot up, but it looked like his intention wasn't to actually make the shots. Some of them looked really ugly. He was just trying to get it up.
But he plays that way all the time. He really does. He gets more foul calls than he got last night, and he makes those shots more often than he did last night.
But, Dan, from @ThompsonScribe. Now, Ryan Cortez just tweeted this out, but it's @ThompsonScribe who gets the credit here. Harden in the second half versus the Warriors for the series, Dan. 11.6 points per game, 40% shooting in the second half of games this series. He was 14.8% from 3 in the second half. You got to be better than that, man.
Agreed.
I mean, Chris Paul missed a game.
Agreed, Stugotz. He missed
2.
He missed 2 games, right. And he missed 2 games. Chris Paul matters.
He does.
Chris Paul playing last night probably is not a part of 27 consecutive misses from three. And you could sit there and spread the blame all around. What I'm telling you is that the Golden State Warriors didn't deserve to win that basketball game. That that Kevin Durant and Steph Curry can make shots from 30 feet and that they happened to fall last night. If we're playing odds, if we're playing just math, and I give you 27 threes from Houston, what do you think the odds are that they miss all of them? That they miss all of them? It's bleeping insane.
It is.
And it's not good defense. It was not good defense. It's PJ Tucker and Ariza in the corner with the easiest shot, the most valuable shot in the game, and they were just missing it.
And Daryl Morey gave voice to what you're saying right now, saying after the game we should have won tonight. I don't have much else to say.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw, that the best team that I've ever seen should have lost last night. They deserved to lose last night, especially the way they played in the first half. Kevin Durant quietly puts up that game because that team is such a loaded bully. He was terrible in the first half. Meek, he was getting beat on all of those offensive rebounds. He's sitting there getting beat by PJ Tucker, but he knows it doesn't matter because he knows how much better they are than everyone else they play. And he knows he can always get that 25-footer because he's taller than everyone else.
Yeah, and credit to Klay Thompson, who, when this team needs to just tread water, he's there for them before Steph does
I'll tell you,
quarter.
Man, you guys were all ready to bury Steve Kerr for the foul trouble of Klay Thompson, and because he played him through it. Because Klay Thompson was dumb at the beginning of that game, and Kerr put him back in only and exclusively because he knows that a player like that needs to get a rhythm and flow. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had him in the second half in a way that would have felt right. And he needed him in the second half. So he dumped him in there with 3 fouls in the second quarter and just trusted him, tried to hide him. That's one of the reasons they had so many open threes. They're just trying to hide Klay. Klay can't play the defense that he normally plays because he's got to stay out of foul trouble. I'm surprised Houston didn't simply go and try and find a way to just run into him. Just see if you could get him to a fourth, because they're not the same team if they don't have the ability to outlet to him.
Everyone's going to be talking about Game 7, but I thought Klay Thompson's performance in Game 6, couple that with what he did at Game 6 in Oklahoma City a couple of years ago, that dude's got guts.
Yep. But he was dumb last night.
Yeah.
And all of you were ready to jump on Steve Kerr for being dumb for the way. No, I don't think I've seen a whole lot of coaches who do it that way, who have, like, they'll just go to the manual, the copycat manual of, nope, if you got 3 fouls in the first half,
gotta sit them.
I'm sitting you. And if you got your 4th foul early in the third quarter, you got to sit.
Those decisions made easier when you have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. I mean,
yes, of course. All of their decisions are made easier by that. I mean, they've got these guys out there, these loonies and cooks, and they got 5 centers on the roster. Like, it's somehow the Golden State Warriors are poorly constructed because they've got 5 centers they don't need.
Game 5 without Iguodala, and Quinn Cook is out there taking shots in the final minute. What?
Right.
What?
And you got Kenny Smith on TNT saying at the half, you got to play McGee.
Yeah, I heard that. That was great.
You got to play JaVale McGee.
Man, I know what you've been saying for some time now, that you don't actually like watching James Harden play.
That's the reason.
The aesthetics. And man, was it ever true, especially with Chris Paul out of that lineup. He has, like, these stats when they're winning. It's fine and dandy, but when they lose and they throw up a stat saying he doubled twice as much as his teammates combined, it's an unappealing brand of basketball. And when the shots don't go in, it looks like he's just a really bad player.
I can't tell you, though, what an incredible statistical aberration. I don't even know what to compare it to. 27 consecutive missed threes. And I'm telling you, that was not good defense. I know Golden State's good at defense. That was not happening because of good defense. Those were a lot of shots that those guys make easily. Trevor Ariza, the one damn guy with experience and champion pedigree, missed all 9 of his threes, and only a couple of them were contested. Like, he was just sitting there. He would just spot up and shoot, and he was doing it from the corner, and he was missing.
Sounds like you're saying they choked.
I mean, they just missed a bunch of shots.
They
to me,
choked.
I don't do it because they're mentally frail. I don't do it. The Golden State Warriors are better. We know that the Golden State Warriors are better. The thing that confuses me and what I kept telling you about was that the margin for error, the fire that they were playing with, is that it would have been very easy for last night. Let's just say the game is exactly the same, just the same way that you watched it. And Houston simply does what it does on a below average night. They win, and you're calling the Golden State Warriors jokers. If Houston just does below average math instead of catastrophic math.
Right.
Below average math, they win the game.
I was rooting for it. And then I get to blast Kevin Durant and that Warriors team, and Chris Paul had nothing to do with them making it to the NBA Finals. Bad night.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Don Le Batard.
You introduced me to a great masseuse. Jeff Finney is his name. Now, there was a time where Jeff Finney was giving me massage on a weekly basis. He's rough. Like, he stretches you out, and it's really, really rough.
Stugotz.
And I sent him a text, or I thought I sent him a text saying, hey, 9 o'clock tonight, I'm ready for you to work on me. I sent it to Jeff DeForest.
This is the Don Le Batard show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
So Cody doesn't have his headset on. No surprise there. He was just cursing. Mike had to keep the microphones down because his reaction to not having the headphones on was to start cursing. Thankfully, Mike had the mics down. But what he was saying when he wasn't putting on his headset is, I need to do some bragging about how right I was about the NBA Finals.
Yeah. And it's not often that I'm right, so I want to brag in this manner. When Boston was up 2-0 and the West Series was 1-1, I predicted in print that for the first time since 1979, both final series would go to Game 7s. And I was dead on. You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
On the single most predictable prediction that everyone was making before the year.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean,
not based on the reaction to that column.
Stugotz was much stronger than you were on this subject, laughing at anybody who doubted LeBron along the way.
Right. I was laughing as well. Tougher to laugh in print, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
All right, so I want to get into this because Greg Cote has sent me all the notes on things he's willing to talk about and ready to talk about today, and all it reads is NBA Finals. And then there's an apology at the end. Sorry, running super late, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Obviously I was.
Well, obviously you weren't running
You're
that late.
actually here on
you
time.
stopped for coffee. Yeah. You were here on time and then walked down the street to get coffee.
Yeah, it's a block away. I mean...
But that's what made you late.
Yeah, I got to synchronize. I think my clock may be a minute off of the studio clock. I've got to synchronize because that's the minute that cost me. You guys were only on the air seconds before I was rattling the door to get in.
Right. So you got to sync it up?
Yeah, I do.
Syncing it.
Syncing it.
What time does the local hour start?
8:56? 8:55?
Yeah, well, you showed up at 9:01.
I don't think so.
And there it is. That's how you argue with Greg Cote right there. It's how I've argued with him for 30 years. You give him facts, and it's like, I agree to disagree.
Right.
Which is what happened with his wife this morning.
Well, it was actually yesterday. She said, I'm a little under the weather. I'm not somebody who wears that on his sleeve. I don't like to even bring it up. But I'm battling.
You've been bringing it up. You brought it up 10 times since you've been here.
Well, I'm a little congested. I'm battling.
Right.
And
you're the world's most self-involved person. So when you get sick, it's like no other sickness anyone has ever had before.
Yeah, my wife would agree with you. I think I battle in, silence, in admirable silence. But, when I have a bad cold and I'm medicating myself, I refer to myself as having an illness, as being ill. And my wife scoffs at that, cursed at me yesterday, and said, "You don't have an illness. You have a bleeping cold." And it devolved into a real argument because I have a right to think that I have an illness when I have a bad cold that requires constant medication. And so hopefully others would agree with that. When you have a bad cold, you're ill. I be illin'.
Right. I'm with you on that. Like, I tend to exaggerate when I'm not feeling well, and my wife tends to make fun of me whenever I do so. So, like, illness is an exaggeration, but you're just hammering home the point that, hey, I really don't feel well.
Exactly.
And they don't seem to be too sympathetic to that.
Not at all. The opposite of sympathetic.
Yeah.
I think that's a missing gene in the DNA of a lot of wives, quite frankly.
Yep.
And
sympathy,
I love wives. But sympathy, right.
You don't love wives as much as Ronaldinho loves wives.
Yeah, well, you got that right.
I got to get into that story. We missed a bunch of stuff while we were out. The 25th year anniversary of the greatest play in sports history, a home run bouncing off the head of Jose Canseco. We missed that while we were off. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Does Greg have an illness or a bleeping cold?
It's an illness, man.
It is an illness.
Sometimes colds lead to illness. That's why you got to catch them early.
Thank you, Billy.
Well, that wasn't him supporting you, though, because it leading to illness would suggest it is not yet an illness.
No, he was supporting me.
Well, he was trying to support you,
Right.
but that
Thank you,
wasn't
Billy.
actual support.
We could be
I
at
heard
the
of
illness
this
phase of this cold.
Thank you. I'd like to have a medic on call, quite frankly. Can ESPN spring for that? Bring McGillicuddy in here, because I'll call him right now. I would like him in the green room, which I have no idea why they call it the green room. It isn't even green. But I need somebody on call because, like Billy said, this could be the beginning of what turns out. I could have pneumonia by the end of the show, quite frankly.
People are saying there has not been a Greg Cote Tuesday in which at some point during the show he hasn't announced that he's not feeling well.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's not true.
I mean, you're always complaining about not feeling well, always. The idea that you think it's one of the amazing lack of self-awarenesses that you have, where you think that you are a quiet. You are basically it's an expression that you hear in Spanish all the time that loosely translated, "Oh, how sick I am and how little I complain."
Yeah, that's me. I don't complain. I don't exaggerate my illness. If anything, I understate it. I unless I'm asked about it, Christopher will back me up on this. I don't volunteer that I'm sick. Somebody's got to say, "Oh, are you sick?" Because I happen to be sneezing and coughing and sniffling. But otherwise, I never volunteer anything. You kidding me?
I just heard it in your chest, man. It sounds awful. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're ill.
I am.
Yep.
Have been for a few days, fighting it, battling.
Mm-hmm.
Also ill, Guillermo, because he said that this was going to be a breakout season for Ureña.
Yeah.
Guillermo said this was going to be an potential all-star season for Ureña.
I'm glad that you're mocking me for that because someone actually sent me, because I thought I was way wrong too. Apparently his strikeout rates are way up and his walk rates are down. So it's just bad luck.
Look, I'm not saying that these are the be-all, end-all statistics, but it's going to be hard for him to get in the All-Star game with an ERA of 4.5 and an 0-7 record.
I thought we didn't count wins, Dan.
I'm just
Only
telling
when it's
you.
convenient for you.
I mean, the ERA's not great either, Billy.
That'll turn around. Look, Dr. K had a 7 ERA, and now it's down to under 4.
Yeah.
So
he's an all-star, right?
I feel like we're only going to get one. So it'll probably be JT.
Yeah, I would think so. Had a big hit the other night.
I understand the whole wins and losses are overrated as a stat, but a win would go far.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't get run support. What is he supposed to do? Get the hits also?
Well, he could do that in this league.
He's not a jack of all trades yet. We'll get there one day with him. Listen to me. Mark my words. One day he'll be an all-star. Marked. I do the marking around here, so I had to mark it myself.
Look, he's got filthy stuff, but he's 0-7 with a 4.5 ERA after you said he was going to be an all-star and that this was his breakout season.
He'll turn it around.
Yeah, I agree with Billy. He's the keeper. Youthful.
You're so down on this team, Dan. I mean, credit where credit is due.
Okay, but what am I supposed to be crediting there? Help me. Where can I place credit? Go ahead.
Credit where credit's due, Dan.
Go ahead. Do credit.
With the team or with Jose?
Everybody. Go ahead and give me
only
all the
14 under 500. I mean, quit being a pessimist.
You just wanted to say the funny thing and then back away from the microphone, pleased with yourself.
You want Hanley? I want Hanley back so bad. Oh, it'd be so great. They DFA'd him. Can you believe they DFA'd him? Why did they do that?
That was a shocking DFA.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. They're not going to get him.
Yeah, was it that shocking? He's 34. He's batting .250. He's got a huge contract. The Marlins need him like they need a wart. He's a first baseman DH coming to the National League. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
No Hanley, please.
I'm with Greg on that. And there's a hamstring injury right around the corner.
Always.
Book it.
I'd like him at third base, or you could put Miguel Rojas at third, put Hanley back at short. Imagine this Hanley playing shortstop. How fun would that be?
Hammy Ramirez. Oh, I blew it. I had it. I blew it like the hammy. He's going to blow any day now. Hammy Ramirez.
Oh, you
right there for the taking.
It was right there.
Man, it's going to sting for a while.
At Trex, we know there's a place for wood in your backyard. We recommend the fire pit. But when it comes down to choosing the right material for your next deck, look no further than the superior beauty and durability of the world's #1 premium decking brand. Trex delivers the look of wood without all of the work and the worry, and it's made from 95% recycled materials, which makes it the right choice for your backyard 100% of the time. To learn how to make Trex your next deck, visit Trex.com to order samples.
Don Batard.
Kenny, how you doing today? Kenny. Waiting for Ken, trying to hook him up here. Ken, you with us? We'll try again. You guys got him?
Stugotz.
We'll take a quick time out. You guys figure it out. Goodbye.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
So I'm a little disappointed Greg Cote only has NBA Finals on his list of topics.
Why?
Because I went to his archive on the Miami Herald website, and he's written a lot of stuff here recently that we could use for content on the local hour.
Yep, thank you.
Like what?
Well, how do I know this and not you? Why isn't Jim Morris on your list of topics?
Yeah, Jim Morris just coached his last game after 25 seasons with the Miami Hurricanes. Fell short of making the NCAA tournament for the second year in a row, unfortunately. But, for our local audience, Jim Morris is one of the great coaches of all time in South Florida, the only two in history down here of a major team that have coached longer were Ron Fraser, the UM baseball legend, and Don Shula himself. And then after that, it's Jim Morris with 25 seasons. What a terrific career he had, two-time champion, and just a great guy, a man of impeccable integrity. And this guy, despite not making the playoffs this year, really rides off into the sunset nobly after a terrific career.
Well, nobly, yes, obviously everyone's saying all the things they need to say about Jim Morris, but this team had I think 44 consecutive years of making the NCAA tournament, and his final two seasons they failed to make it.
Oh yeah, no, he's the first one to admit it. He did not go out the way he wanted to. Last year, I thought, and a lot of people thought that UM should have made it, but didn't. This year, he started so many freshmen. There were games where he started 6, even 7 freshman players in the field, boding well for next year's team. He's leaving Gino DeMare, the designated successor, quite a trove of talent.
I was speaking with Dan last week when he brought up Jim Morris, and there was a time in this city where Jim Morris was one of the faces of South Florida sports. Mm-hmm. Miami Hurricanes baseball was such a big deal down here, particularly in maybe like the early 90s, I think, was its heyday. I remember meeting Jim Morris as a little kid, and it was a really big deal. And that program's sort of fallen off. I know it's been a while since the national championship, but now not even making College World Series.
Yeah, it has been a downturn. His last of 2 national titles was in 2001, so that's a long time ago now, but you sometimes see that trend in sports. Shula won his championships in 72 and 73 and basically spent the next, 18, 20 plus years, trying and failing to win another one. So, sometimes your biggest hits are early and then, the rest of it is a sad, slow, erosion.
Another article that's on your archive at MiamiHerald.com. Or Herald.com, that's for whatever reason not on your list of topics to discuss.
Right.
Hearing Ryan Tannehill looks really good out of camp.
Yeah, I mean, I try never to get too excited about anything happening on a football field in May, but you're right. I mean, he does look good, but Tannehill right now is enjoying the bounce of absence makes the heart grow fonder effect. Dolphin fans right now love Tannehill again because he's back, because he's better than Cutler, because he looks healthy in late May. But the onus is on him to stay healthy and to be better than he's ever been. The knock against Tannehill has never been that he's terrible. The knock has been he's not the guy who can lift everyone around him and carry a team. So he needs to stay healthy, which he hasn't done for 2 seasons in a row, and he needs to be better than he's ever been. And that's a real challenge for a guy turning 30 who has been a career underachiever for a guy drafted 8 overall.
All right. Is your ego significantly stroked now? Have we mentioned your articles enough? Because I think probably the only thing worth talking about on the list of topics is the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
now that after we've actually
right.
gone through the experience of talking about the Jim Morris and the Ryan Tannehill.
Real quick, do you agree with that, though? That Tannehill's been a career underachiever?
I don't agree with that. I think that whole notion sort of bothers me. Dolphins fans always want more. They nailed that draft pick.
Did they?
They nailed that draft pick. He's been a really solid quarterback.
Yeah,
if the Browns drafted Ryan Tannehill, he'd be a hero there.
Maybe my standards are a little higher for a top 10 quarterback. For example, I expect more of Baker Mayfield. I expect more of Sam Darnold. When you draft a quarterback number 8 overall, I think into the meat of his career, you expect more than a quarterback with 0 Pro Bowls, with a 45-47 career record, and with no indication yet that he's going to be a transcendent quarterback who can lift a team. And that's the onus on him.
But he's proved he's a starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah,
he
is.
And not one of those guys that if he leaves his team, then he battles for a spot. That guy gets a job.
You mentioned a 1 and a 3. That's not a 1 and a 3. If you're the 8th best player in a draft, you're not a great quarterback. Like, that's not. If you're a great quarterback, you're going to be taken before the 8th pick.
It could be. I'm not saying he came in expected to be a great quarterback, but look, he's an average quarterback. Okay, in any ranking of NFL quarterbacks, he's right in the middle. He's never in the top 10. He's never in the mid-20s. He's pretty good.
But Greg, I think his last 3 seasons, I think he's above average. Like, he's 70 touchdowns and I think 36 interceptions. With a quarterback rating right around a 90.
Garoppolo's 7-5.
Right.
Garoppolo, everyone's celebrating Garoppolo. He's 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Right. I don't think Tannehill's bad. Believe me, I don't. But at the same time, I think he's got a lot of room for improvement. And they've done everything to surround him. They've given him.
Have they though?
For the love of God, Greg.
The Miami Dolphins
have they? His weapon right now is a Devontae Parker that's been often injured.
They don't have a playmaker.
Okay, if you'll allow me to talk, I will. Tannehill. The Dolphins have spent more first-round picks on offensive linemen during his career.
First-round pick.
Okay, but they've made the effort. They've emphasized.
No, that's not enough. He's made the effort. And what?
The team has tried to surround him with
failed.
a great. Yes, right.
That's their fault, not his.
I agree with that. But the point is, he hasn't been what they need him to be yet. That's not saying he's a bad quarterback. He isn't a bad quarterback. And compared to the nightmare the Dolphins had last season with Cutler, he's going to be very good by comparison if he stays healthy.
Greg actually nails the voice of the Dolphins fan in this market better than anyone because that's actually the attitude that most Fins fans have, and I just don't understand it. I guess I know where it's coming from because this is a town of Marino, and everybody that's been in that uniform at that position is ultimately going to get compared to him, but you need to start comparing him to just other quarterbacks that are drafted around that spot. And the fact that he's not a disaster, the fact that he's still a starter, and that he can still be a starter for several other franchises in this league means that you nailed that draft pick.
He's a starter caliber NFL quarterback. You're right. And I've never said otherwise. He's pretty good. My problem with Tannehill is that, 6 or 7 years into the Tannehill era, fans are still going, yeah, is he good enough? Yes, he's pretty good. Yes, he's not bad, but is he good enough? And I don't think that's a question you want to be asking 7 years in.
Right. Can we win big with this quarterback?
Yes, exactly.
That's fair.
Now it's also fair to say if he stays healthy, he has a chance to reach another level because one of the caveats in Tannehill's favor is that he's played under 3 or 4 different offensive coordinators and offensive systems. And now, last year was erased. He would have been coming into his 3rd season under this system. Instead, he's coming into his 2nd. So there is a chance that based on comfort and familiarity, this is a season he's going to take a leap. If you're a Dolphin fan, I think you can take heart in that.
Oh, especially with that chemistry he's building with Danny Amendola. The Dolphins fans are doing it again. They're talking themselves into, hey, this wasn't a bad contract.
Yeah, well.
Coming from New England, it's definitely going to be the same down here.
Yeah, and maybe Frank Gore's got a lot left in the tank, huh?
It's amazing that they do sign up for the same stuff over and over again and don't get to learn from it.
The fans do, man.
Stugotz, I was viewing the...
You've been falling for it with the Browns forever.
Yeah, but I'm pretty jaded at this point.
Right, I got you.
I'm pretty jaded. Yeah. I was viewing the Eastern Conference Finals through the emotional prism of a Heat fan, and I feel like the Miami Heat are super far. When Terry Rozier is 0 for 10, and you have to tell yourself, wait, Terry Rozier isn't some scrub that didn't make the playoffs. They actually rode him for a while all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. My team feels like it's really far away. If I can't compete with the Boston Celtics, if I can't come close, the Boston Celtics dusted the team that eliminated us, that dusted us. I feel really far away, and I feel really far away from a team that has Terry Rozier and Jason Tatum. Although he's very good, he's a rookie.
Right.
He's barely old enough to drive.
Yeah,
and Marcus Morris,
be real good, yeah.
And Marcus Morris, like it's a revolving door of just average Joes that are going to play for probably 8 teams when it's all said and done.
Bad Cavs team, man. That is a bad. There has never been a team that plays defense like that's made it this far into a season. They are the epitome of one-man team. This is the Iverson Sixers.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
And the Iverson Sixers play defense.
I'm really surprised. I don't think we've ever really seen a situation like this where it's the best player in the league going on the road for a Game 7 and the best team in the world going on the road for a Game 7. But I'm still pretty stunned that we saw 2 road victories in these Game 7s in that situation. Man, that Houston atmosphere that first half, it looked like a barbarian like showcase. There was like gladiator sport.
Nothing will kill that more than 0 for 27 from 3.
Oh, the halftime really killed everything. Gerald Green, the 1-3 that they got from the other people, Gerald Green did it in someone's face, and you're like, why'd the Heat let that guy go? He could have been a piece. He almost died here. Mario Chalmers saved his life.
That's funny that you were saying why'd the Heat let that piece go, and I was saying why is Gerald Green playing minutes in a Game 7?
How did he get his hair like that? It's so cool.
I love his hair, man.
His hair is so cool. It's got the logo on it. And you know what? He played for the Celtics, I think, last year, and he had the Celtics logo.
How?
He finds a way to get all the logos.
How?
It's amazing. It's amazing. That team, though, not. How washed is Joe Johnson? I feel like if you need a 3, Joe Johnson can give you a 3 until he's 84 years old, but apparently not. Only 5 minutes. Ryan Anderson, another guy. If you're struggling for 3s, why don't you put the guys that are good at 3 in? I don't know. What happened there? It was so bizarre. If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm bashing my head through a window.
That has to be the single greatest outlier in the history of sports. The idea that on that stage, at home, that team would go 0 for 27 and 3s. I can't think of another example.
Well, here, see if this math is right here. Let's see if this math is right. Get the stat of the day there, Mike, so that I can, because I don't know if this is right, but this is what someone who likes math is writing.
Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day, it is the start of the day.
Assuming the Rockets had a 1 in 3 chance of making each 3-point shot they took. We can assume that, right? A 1 in 3 chance. 33%, not great. Steph Curry's around 40%. Assuming the Rockets had a 1 in 3 chance of making each 3-point shot they took, the odds of missing 13 in a row is 0.55. The Rockets missed more than twice that in a row. The odds of going 0 for 13, he's saying, I'm not good enough at math to know if this is right.
No, this sounds right.
0.55. The Rockets missed more than twice than that in a row.
I imagine Daryl Morey watches the games from an office that has a supercomputer, just oversized. It takes up the entire wall. Oh. And that machine is spitting that stuff out as it's happening. And it's just a mad scientist that has no idea what's going wrong. that has to be incredibly frustrating because he got the looks and he got the players that you would think would not to do that, and they did. And what do you do? Where do you go from here?
You lose.
Yeah, but does he just tell himself? Because I think the Warriors win that series regardless of what happens with Chris Paul's hamstring. But if you're a Rockets fan, you're telling yourself, no way. Eric Gordon had the quote that said, we'd be playing on Thursday if Chris Paul didn't get hurt. And I understand that. It did look different without Chris Paul out there, even though Game 6 it was looking pretty damn good until the Warriors started doing great stuff. I would be most frustrated.
Looking pretty good in the first half last night.
I would be most frustrated, obviously, with Game 7 because I thought they played well Game 6, but the Warriors just did Warrior stuff. Last night, that game was there for the taking. That was as loud as any arena I've heard this season. The people didn't sit down the entire first half. Halftime came and went, and it was a totally different team, and you were still getting looks, and you weren't able to put them away.
I don't think you can just do the math, though, and say, well, Houston was 7 for 44 on threes. If they go even 12 for 44, they win the game by a point. Because the way Curry and Durant played in the second half, who's to say that challenged to do so, they couldn't raise their game even a little bit more? That was vintage Curry and
fair enough.
Durant.
If they needed to, you're saying.
Fair enough,
Yes.
but 12 for whatever is still terrible.
It's still terrible, but
like if they had just played to something that was merely below average in a reasonable way, then you're at least pushing a desperate team to the brink. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen that too. I would have liked to see Curry make a shot that matters in the last 24 seconds. Which is not something he's done the last 6 times he's taken one in an important game.
Yeah, but the if, I just hate playing the if this and if that. For example, if Golden State was 7 for 14 on free throws, if they make 5 more
Greg,
free
you
throws.
can't do both things that you're doing, though, where you're saying that was an unprecedented outlier and then go if. It was an unprecedented outlier.
You're right.
And they deserved to win the game if they had merely had a terrible shooting performance as opposed to a historically awful one.
So you're not saying they deserve to win the game flatly.
I am saying they deserve to win the game.
Well, that's ridiculous. Yeah, they didn't win the game.
I'm saying that the way that they played, those shots that they got are the ones they want.
Right.
And they got hit by some extraordinarily bad luck in missing that many shots. Stugotz, there's the chance if we take those 27 threes, we do better than that.
Well, how about for the entire game? I'm guessing the Rockets take 44 threes. How many times do they make 15% of their 44 threes?
That's happened before. I think that happened in this series. But
really?
Before even Game 7, I think around Game 5, where they still won somehow, James Harden had missed 20 straight threes.
James Harden missed 20 straight threes at one point.
Just the way we saw LeBron rise up, we saw Curry and Durant rise up in a way that we didn't see Harden. Harden had one of the worst 32-point games I've ever seen, and I totally agree with what Mike said earlier. I must have seen 5 or 6 shots from him last night where he's just looking to draw a foul. He's leaning in on a three. He's not trying. It's as if he's not trying to make the shot. He's just trying to be fouled.
And Scott Foster wasn't playing that game. You know what? I look at Game 7. I'm sure Daryl Morey's doing the same thing, smacking his head. How the hell? He's probably telling himself, I just have to bring back the same team because we're not going to do that again. If we bring back the same team, we'll probably win because the numbers are going to come in our favor. But if you couple the Game 7 box score, which is pretty bizarre, with the Game 5 one, which Houston winning Game 5 made absolutely zero friggin' sense.
But Mike, to your guy's point, they were 13 of 43 in that game. That's 30% from 3.
And
30%.
Yeah, but you see, I cannot believe the numbers that Harden is putting up. The Rockets had no business beating a team of the Warriors' caliber.
Being that close. Being that close was weird. I mean, you look. I mean, a lot of people are writing in now, as they often do, blah, 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 scoreboard. Man, Chris Paul being injured, that matters.
That matters. Yeah, but Kevin Love was injured. Didn't matter that much to LeBron.
Okay, but he was playing a much, much, much lesser team.
But he's on the road, too.
Again, please, compare those Celtics to these Warriors. Please do that. Please do that.
No, I can't do that, but LeBron would have loved to have James Harden supporting cast in that game against the Celtics. He would have.
Not going 0 for 27, he wouldn't have.
Okay, but absent of that, Dan, if you ask LeBron, hey, you could trade your entire supporting cast for the Rockets supporting cast, do you want to do that? He'd say yes before the game starts. I would think, don't you?
And, again, I think he takes the opponent that he had.
That's true.
I think that's the one
course,
because because Boston had the same kind of shooting game because of what Mike's saying. Terry Rozier going 0 for 700.
Daryl Morey's always got great free agency pitches, and he's going to have a really good one this offseason. Look how close we were. But I think what Dan is saying is that the opponent matters more. Daryl Morey's still going to be going into those meetings as a member of the Western Conference. And look what LeBron just had to go through. It was a joke.
Yeah, but LeBron had to go through that without Kyrie Irving and without Gordon Hayward. In other words, it wasn't just that he was missing